During the 1960s, I was serving as the counselor coordinator for the Upward Bound project at Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey. One day, the director told me that he was bringing on a young black guy from Montclair, New Jersey, a neighboring city from Seton Hall. He went on to talk about how he was a good administrator, got along well with kids, got along well with his co-workers, and he just went on and on.
Dr. Lewis Roland was born in Kinston, North Carolina, to the late Maria Pulia Anderson and Lewis Roland Sr. He was affectionately known as June or Shot. Dr. Lewis Roland, 86, peacefully departed this life June 17th, 2026, surrounded by loved ones and family. In 1955, he graduated Atkins High School in Kinston, North Carolina, and then attended Hampton University briefly. Proud of a parents that owned a home in downtown Kinston, he was the man in Kinston, along with his best friend and brother, Billy Anderson. Lou then went to Hampton University briefly before attending Winston Salem State Teachers College, where he majored in elementary education and graduated in 1962. He served as senior class president, captain of the football team, and became a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Incorporated Bay Iota chapter, served as student president and on the student council, and who's who in America. He then married his college sweetheart, Eleanor Joyce Simmons, in 1961. He began his career as an educator in Danville, Virginia, and served as principal in Montclair, New Jersey. He earned a master's degree from Seton Hall University, ED, in educational administration from Rutgers. As director of Seton Hall's Upward Bound program, he mentored hundreds of students and helped expand access to higher education for many inner city youth, where he served as an advisor and mentor. Lewis Roland was considered a risk taker, an educator, a game changer, an encourager, a motivator, a friend, and an uncle. Lewis Roland, again, was from Kinston, North Carolina, where he had strong upbringings and grounded wisdom about the importance of education. Dr. Roland later served 12 years as assistant director of the School of Public Health in Chapel Hill at the University of North Carolina. And then in 1996, he founded Roland and Associates Trucking Company, becoming one of the first African-American owned trucking companies in the Triangle area and creating employment opportunities for many underserved individuals. A couple of Dr. Roland's famous sayings are, if you don't catch the big train, you don't catch the little train. Be sure you catch the train. If you grin, you're in. He also used to greet guests and always said, open with something funny. And he would say, good afternoon to the A students, to the B students, to the C students, and to my friends. Welcome and thank you for coming today. And education was non-negotiable. A few highlights of his life are,
I thought, he can't be that good. Sometimes you meet people for the first time and immediately there's a connection. That is what happened between Lou Roland and me. That was the start of our relationship as friends that lasted for over 60 years. When Frank, the director, told me about him, let me tell you, in talking about the students that were from the Central Ward in Newark, that did not like school, many had negative attitude about school, their friends themselves, some had not done well in school, negative behaviors. But They listened to Mr. Roland, and they were drawn to him because of his personality and understanding of their lives. He wasn't loud. He had what I call a quiet demeanor with them, and they liked Mr. Roland. I joke with him as well as he had a sense of humor, as many of you might know. Whenever he smiled, he showed his teeth. Most of us don't smile that way. Once I told him, boy, you should sign up to do a commercial. Just grinned, and I said, see, that's what I mean. Let me make it very clear, the boy was not a saint. He did not walk on water. Those of you know that really know him. A couple years later, I looked at another position working with potential high school dropouts in Newark. The dean told me that they were going to look for another director. I told him that Lou should be the director. He knows the students, they like him, he gets along with the staff, and he's a good relationship with them. He knows the institution. Well, the dean agreed with me, and Lou was named the director of the Upward Bound project. Since he and I were very close, I told him, work, graduate school, short on money, I'm going to hire you on a half-time basis. Now, I did not ask him to do that. He just did. And that's a friend. Later, he and his family moved back to Carolina. We seldom saw each other. However, we talked often. Most of the time, you understand, we didn't call each other Bob or Lou or Shot. We called each other boy. Well, when he came on, he would say, hey, boy. And I would respond, boy, how are you? As I look back on our long relationship, there's some things that impress me the most about him. He took risk. He took a risk when he left Carolina and moved to New Jersey. He took a risk when he left his job in Montclair to take a position at Seton Hall. He took a risk when he didn't have a job when he moved back to Carolina. It was Joyce that had a job. Most weekends he drove to Chapel Hill from New Jersey, some 450 miles one way. And he took a risk when he started his own business. However, the most thing that I saw in him was the fact that he and Joyce raised 3 incredible and remarkable women. Very proud of you. Whenever we talked, I always asked, how you kids are doing, even though you were adults. And he would say, Laurie is the business one. Kaisha is the smart one. Lisa's the boss, and she's crazy like me. Tyler Perry, the filmmaker, offers a tree analogy in describing relationship with people lives like tree leaves and branches and roots. Just as a tree has many leaves and limbs, they have few roots. Roots go deep. When you compare roots to the leaves and branches, there are not as many. What are the roles of people that play in our lives? Leaves, branches, or roots? If we can find some people in our lives who are more like roots of a tree, we have found someone that is very special.
Even without being able to talk or walk, he still had an impact even on his nurses, doctors, and caregivers. He was doted over and treated with exceptional care, and they all spoke so highly of them and how much they admired and loved him.
A tree has many leaves, limbs, and roots, but there are few special people in our lives that are like roots. I'd like to think that he and I had a relationship that were like roots. Joyce, thank you so very much for allowing me to be a part of his and your lives. It always made me feel good that even though I was not your uncle by blood, you referred to me as Uncle Bob. Not too long ago, before he became sick, I called him and I told him that I never took our friendship for granted. I told him I never had a brother, but if I had a brother, it would be you. Boy, you will always be my brother.
Again, an educator, him and Mom believed that education was non-negotiable and the utmost importance. Education was the key to improving life and maximizing opportunities. With 3 degrees in education and serving as a teacher and a principal in elementary and secondary education and director in a collegiate level, he lived and breathed education. But most importantly, he was a family man. Family trips, family events, and being there for family was the of his foundation also. Take care of your sisters, visit your family, be kind to one another. In the summer times, he would make us study the Encyclopedia Britannica, you know the one, read a book a week and get $5. And he encouraged the same groundwork and legacy with his grandkids and anyone he met, even in vacation Bible school. Oldest granddaughter's being a senior in college, and his youngest three grandkids understand the importance of education. He was a mentor and supporter, and again, the leader of the Upward Bound program, but believed in taking the time to reflect, think, and have quiet time. He was a man of few words, and Jamie and I joked the other day that he spoke in parables. He gave counsel wisely and was generous without needing a bunch of recognition. He was a quiet leader, but when he talked, you listened. He didn't say much. We also shared his impact. He was a very, very, very kind and giving man and loved teaching young children, anyone he met. Affectionately known as Shot, some of his sayings were, don't do nothing to hurt the program or yourself, even with don't do nothing being an inaccurate use of grammar. But it was a reminder to maintain personal standards and to be accountable to others. Always use integrity, and that's your word. Again, Shots took risks and was willing to do things no one else had. He was a Renaissance man. He had the only trucking company, one of the first black-owned trucking companies in North Carolina. At 46 years old, after serving as an assistant director at UNC School of Public Health for 12 years, he took a leap of faith and started his own trucking company. Now, believe me, everyone in Chapel Hill knew Dr. Roland for being at UNC, and he was involved in the Parks and Rec, and our basketball coach and our soccer coach and an avid golfer and a great friend. But he was also he had $1 million smile, and everyone knows him for his smile. So he began a modeling career, often showing up in print and TV advertisements, including Mercedes and Rite Aid. He deeply, deeply loved his wife of 65 years, his devoted partner and best friend. And it was our commitment to get him to the 65th wedding anniversary, and we did. It was our commitment to get him to his 86th birthday, and we did. And he made it to 86 because of his wife of 65 years. She diligently made sure he ate correctly and appropriately. In later years, he would enjoy sitting with Mom and watching TV shows, especially The Neighborhood, Chip and Joanna Gaines, and Cedric the Entertainer. He was fun and playful and would always pull a quarter from behind your ear. And he said, boogity, 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 when he gave you a kiss. Things you'll never forget, including our annual beach trips and Daddy telling stories with Uncle Bill or Uncle Bob. Arm wrestles and other antics. And again, he was the best pool player in the whole state of North Carolina. Papa, Dr. Roland, Daddy, was our biggest cheerleader in softball, track, basketball, or volleyball. And he always had simple words of advice. Do your best and have fun. He was fun and playful. Even in sickness, he would never complain. And never. And he'd always say, every day I get up is a great day. And there was a special poem he'd always say, courage, brother, do not stumble. And I've listed that below. In his latter days, Dad lived in a simple and extraordinary life. And as we prepared his final days and I left the caretaker's house, the sun shined so brightly on my chest. And I said, Daddy, you're home in my arms. But God quickly spoke to me and said, no, he's home in my arms. We thank you, God, for this gift and everything we learned from him. And as they say in the olden days, God loved you best. We, Daddy, are so proud of the fight you fought, and you made it look easy. To Uncle Bill, Uncle Faison, Uncle Chuck, and all the others, we salute you, and we will carry on your memories and your words, and we will journey forward with the passion and without complaining the way you did. And we will continue to ensure your mantra that every day I get up, it will be a great day.